Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. Today, we're discussing the rising popularity of basement apartments and discussing whether or not they're worth it. Enjoy.
Legal and permitted.
Yes.
How often do you see that in a basement apartment?
Nowadays, often. More often than not.
Why is that?
Because municipalities are cracking down on it.
Finally. And insurance companies.
Yes. You know what I was told?
If you rent out your illegal basement apartment, which there's a ton of them out there, buyer beware, renter beware, and something happens to...
That's fine. We'll just keep talking.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. Did you want to clap? A little too late. Incognito start to the podcast.
Okay, so if you rent out your illegal, is that what you're saying?
Illegal.
Right.
God forbid somebody dies in there or there's something that goes wrong, you're up Schitt's Creek.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
So that's what we're talking about today.
Well, and there's
basement apartments.
That's happened a lot in the last few years. There was a fire in Hamilton, a fire in Brampton.
Mm-hmm.
Families died.
Yep.
Upper and lower units, I believe.
Yep.
You know, would that have happened if it was a legal apartment? First of all, I don't know if they were illegal, but odds would be favorable to say that they were not.
Correct.
And one of the main reasons you're required to get a permit is for safety.
You know, how often do you see a property listed on MLS, basement apartment, and it's illegal? It's not a legal basement apartment.
You just went cross-eyed there. That was funny. And what I hate is...
You know what it is?
What?
My prescription now is so bad. I got to get a new prescription for sure. That I can see everything really, like looking close at the top of this microphone. Mm-hmm. My eyes just start going cross-eyed because I don't need the glasses to see close anymore.
I see. I've lost my train of thought. I was going to say something.
I asked you how often you see an MLS listing with a basement apartment
so
that's illegal.
What I was going to say is I hate how real estate agents will default to writing in a clause in the offer and a note in the brokerage remarks of a listing saying, listing agent does not guarantee retrofit status of basement. Like, just say this basement is not legal. It is not permitted. Buyer beware, right? And put that in, like, you have to be blatantly obvious. And I haven't read them myself, but I believe from conversations with several people that there have been more than one instances where real estate agents have been held liable
for sure
for stuff like this, even with those ridiculous clauses, because they don't hold up.
That's right.
So, like, you need to be forthcoming. Like, if you aren't sure if it's a legal apartment, fucking find out. That's your job, right? Find out and
you remember the one agent that you called them out on the basement apartment, and you said, "Well, it doesn't have a kitchen."
Yeah, and I said, it doesn't have a kitchen. I can only see
a counter
and a sink. And he said, "Well, what's the difference between a counter and a sink and a kitchen?" And I said, "A stove and a fridge." And he said, "Oh yeah, we can add that." I'm like, "Okay." And then I said, the windows don't look like they're legal sizes, and I don't see the doorway. Where's the door? He's like, "Oh, we can add a door." So it was, it's ridiculous, the stuff that happens in this industry.
Would you... Now, let's just... Maybe not you in this current state, in your current time in your life. We all know you paid off your house, you got a couple of kids, things are rosy, you don't need a basement apartment rental. But would you?
Yes.
You would.
I think it makes sense. You can get $200 to $2,500 on average per month, depending on the size and the way you set it up.
You can't get $2,500 a month for an average basement apartment.
If you have like a kick-ass basement apartment with 2 bedrooms and is really nice, I think you can get $2,500.
You can rent a condo, 2 bed, 2 bath now for how much? in town? $2,800?
Yeah.
$2,700? So why am I going to live in your shitty basement for 25?
It depends on the house. What if it's a walkout basement? What if you have access to a yard area, right? Like if you do these
Let
things.
me tell you something. Most people with a walkout basement and a nice backyard want it for themselves, not some strangers living downstairs.
You're wrong. Nowadays, people buy houses.
So you think there's enough buyers out there that they're buying these nice $1.5 to $2 million houses and they can't afford it really. So they're putting basement apartments in there to rent it out and have income.
Yes, and nowadays, because the provincial mandate for municipalities to permit the changes to accessory dwelling units, you can have 3 units on a property, assuming you're able to meet all the setbacks and requirements.
Yeah, go back to that episode with me grilling my sausages in my underwear while you peek through the windows and watch me.
Yeah, so let's say, okay, you build...
Can you find out what episode that was, Robbie?
You spend $150,000 and you build an accessory dwelling unit in the backyard.
Yeah.
Separate from the house, self-contained apartment, and then you do the basement, and you can probably collect close to $5,000 a month.
Sure. Now,
right?
Now you're talking about multiple streams of income, not just some stranger living in your basement. Now you've got 2 rent. Now it's turning into a business.
Right.
Because now you're generating $4,000 or $5,000 a month rent. That's a business now. You're making 50, 60 grand a year.
Yes. But it's a business, but it's also in many cases
theoretically
it's a requirement.
Theoretically.
People can't afford to live without it.
If you owned, your home now is probably worth $1.3, $1.4 million. So if you go and you buy a $1.3, $1.4 million property where you could have another little, what were we calling them last time?
Coach house.
Yeah, whatever.
Laneway house.
Yeah. You have one of those coach houses villa in the back that's legal now, and you rent that out. You finish the basement. You could live with 50 to 60 grand income by doing nothing.
Yeah.
You could retire right now. Maybe you should consider that.
Yeah. It makes sense because you can probably rent something like that out for similar to a basement, maybe a little bit more, depending on how you do it.
I wouldn't rent my basement. I don't know. I'm just one of those people. I would think it's weird.
I think it depends on the house, right? Like
I would rent a basement apartment, but if I owned the house, I would just want it for myself.
For me, I think it depends on the house.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the people, depends on the house. You need a house that satisfies your needs and requirements and some of your wants. Hi, Jenny, you want to be on the podcast?
Even when accounting for the fact that you no longer have the basement space.
Right.
So if your house satisfied that and the basement was just going to sit empty or used for storage, then it might make sense to generate some income off of it.
Robbie, see if Heidi wants to say hello.
Heidi doesn't want to say hi.
No?
No. She already answered.
Yeah. No. Heidi, the painter, she's painting. She's good. Okay. Well, we're giving her a shout out anyway, and we'll tag her on Instagram. How much money do you think it costs? We'll use a 2,000 square foot detached home to finish the basement with. Could you get 2 bedrooms in a basement like that?
No.
Not
comfortably.
What size of home do you need to get 2 bedrooms? 2,500 and up?
We have
over 25. Over 25.
At least 25.
Yeah.
Minimum.
So your basement, let's just take your basement and make it legal because you have 1 bedroom, which isn't legal.
This depends too. Like if it's a bungalow, then the numbers are different. If we're talking about a 2,500 square foot 2-story home where the garage is in the main level.
I'm talking about how much foot space, how many square feet do you need in a basement?
Well, there's not only how much you need, there's legal requirements and limits.
Need. Hence.
Well, I don't know what those numbers are.
Right.
But yeah, you're probably around 800 to 1,000 square feet for a comfortable
let's say 1,000 square feet. So if you're for how many bedroom?
2 bedroom.
2 bedroom. Oh yeah, you need a 2 bedroom, 1,000 square feet for sure.
Yeah. I would think so.
Unless you're a downtown Toronto condo, and then you can do it in 512.
It depends on your market.
So let's say you have 1,000 square foot basement. How much does it cost to finish it with 1 bedroom, 1 bath? Quiet on the set!
They're not on the set.
That's true. Well, they're in the same vicinity. This is what happens when we shoot a podcast in the kitchen.
Yeah, we need to separate them. We should talk about that.
Oh, just fire one of them. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
All right.
I tried to do.
You want to know what I
earlier.
think it'll cost?
Yeah, to finish the basement.
2-bedroom basement apartment or 1,000 square feet. I would think you're around like 70,000.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people that will tell you, "Oh, I can get it done for like 30."
Yeah. Well, you
and
could,
it will look like it. Trust me.
Yeah. But if you do the math, like if you spend 70,
legal basement apartment, 1,000 square feet, you got 2 bedrooms, a bath. Do you have your own laundry?
yeah,
Laundry. So full.
yeah, just small, like a
So it's a
stacked
condo.
washer dryer.
So
in the
2 bedroom,
corner.
1 bath condo.
Yeah.
Full separate. You obviously have now a full separate entrance, not walking through this garage bullshit.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't count. You can't. That's not legal.
Exactly.
Right.
But how many listings on MLS do you see? And they say side separate entrance, and
Through a
it's the
garage.
separate entrance through the garage.
Right.
So 70 grand, you said?
I think so. That's just a complete guess, but based on my
70
knowledge
grand. Line 1. How much on a mortgage is 70 grand right now?
450, somewhere in
Yeah,
that range.
maybe 4 or 5. Yeah, $450.
Yeah, and you're getting 2,000.
Yeah.
I think that's a no-brainer.
She really picked up the phone?
That's a no-brainer, right? So, and the same goes with the accessory dwelling outside. If you do a separate unit, from my conversations with people, you're 100 to 150K.
So that basement apartment, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, costs you 70 grand. It's about $450, you say, on a mortgage. I think that's probably about right. Maybe a bit more. You do it because you can rent it for $2 grand a month. So you're up $1,500 a month.
Yes.
And that $1,500 now helps you pay about $300,000
Right.
of your purchase price.
Well, and this is the direction people are going. This is the direction builders are going, right?
Yeah.
Like they're building homes with the intent of the basement being a rental.
Yes.
Because and if you look at newer neighborhoods, like for us, anything south of Louis St. Laurent, so you get to Walker, Coben, Ford. There's tons of them.
If you don't finish the basement, let's just say it's unfinished, does the fact that unfinished basement could accommodate that 1,000 square foot apartment, does that increase the value of the home as a whole?
Yeah, of course it does. But it also, at the same time, it reduces the pool of people that will be interested in it because it's very specific use. So it does increase the value, but it limits the audience a little bit, which means it may take a bit longer.
The basement is already once you finish the basement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants an apartment in the basement.
No, but I mean that goes for everything. If you finish it with a spare bedroom for occasional family and a theater.
Right. Somebody might
and
not
a
want
bedroom,
the theater.
Somebody who wants a basement apartment is not going to see the appeal, right? So
Right.
you have increased the value, but you're also reducing the scope of people that will be interested.
Right.
So the question isn't does it add value? It's who's your audience now, and how do you maximize that? But also make sure no matter what you do it properly.
Would you say, in your professional opinion, that over the course of your 13 years in this industry and selling a lot of homes, that the number one poorly renovated part of a home is the basement?
100%. I was in one the other day. I won't say the street name. I was in one the other day, and it was a newer home, probably 6 or 7
Don't
years
give
old.
too many details. We're going to have to take an ethics course
In South Milton.
again.
On a busy street. And it was about 2,000 square feet. And the basement was done.
Oh, do you want to tell us the color of the home too?
I actually don't remember. And the basement was done, and it was. I can't comment on the workmanship, but I can comment on the design and layout. Like, it was absolutely horrible. So, and the main thing was related to the mechanical room and the various the ways that they built around stuff. Like, it was just, I can't even explain it. They had so many doors that provided access to useless spaces.
Poor design, poor construction.
Hang on. They boxed in.
Not too many details. I don't want to hear it.
They boxed in the HRV.
You're taking the course. I'm not.
So,
I do not condone what he is saying.
So they made a hallway that led to a bathroom, and they had boxed in with drywall, a proper box, like a bulkhead in the middle of the space, the HRV.
Oh, I know the house that you're talking about too.
So, the bathroom was really nice, but you had to crawl to get to it.
Right.
And it was just such stupid ideas. And it's like, consult with a designer.
Maybe there was some little people living there.
It could have been little people. And, to each their own. But, if you're thinking resale, or if you're spending this money, you should be thinking resale.
Where I get pissed off is the poor construction. People cut corners. They say, oh, I know a guy. Oh, yeah, he can do it all. He's a general contractor. No, he's not a general contractor. He thinks he can do everything, and maybe installed a couple of baseboards years ago and never has done it since. And the angles are cut. I can always tell based on the craftsmanship of the baseboards or the flooring. You look at the flooring, you look at the baseboards. If they're nicely done and the corners are lined up and nice, everything's nicely siliconed and the floors aren't, I love when people do a DIY on their floors. They say, oh yeah, I can watch a few YouTube videos and install it. And every other board is the same length. So when you look down, you see the line.
Oh, they don't stagger them.
They don't stagger them. They don't do offcuts and stuff like that.
Well, those are the fine details that, you probably can lay a floor.
Oh, like, it's not hard. From even in that scenario, there's nothing wrong with the installation other than it looks stupid.
Right. But it's the fine details like that.
Right.
And, how do they finish it where it's important, like when it meets a different surface, when it meets tile, how clean is it?
What's the threshold? How are the cuts?
Yeah.
And you can always tell. And then caulking, is it a nice caulking job? You can always tell somebody that's an amateur versus somebody that knows what they're doing. And I guarantee you the amateur work, if it's visible by the eye, it's going to cost you in the long run because there are other things that they cut corners with, which are going to reveal themselves, and oftentimes when it's too late. So spend the money, get it done properly, get it permitted. It is a viable option if you're looking to have additional income opportunities. And with using that math on a 2,000 square foot home, you could be paying about $300,000 of your purchase price by renting out the basement. So there you go. Let us know what you think.
Good talk.
Bye.
Ciao. There you have it. Thanks for watching or listening to this episode of KT Confidential. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it provided some value, and hopefully it answered the question about whether or not to get a basement apartment. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe.